welcome back to another CineFix Now Roundtable. We have a full house once again.
It's been a while.
It's been like a month since we've had this many people here. It's been a month since I've been here, for one. But I'm happy to have a full home once again.
I don't know. I kind of like the intimate roundtable.
Okay.
Talked a lot more anime last time.
I have a feeling we'll all decide it's a terrible idea by the end of this, and we'll go back to the smaller ones next week. But for now, there are 8 of us in here to talk about all the things that happened this week, including Emmy nominations came out a couple days ago, and I printed out all of the Emmy nominations. I didn't realize there was
over 40 pages.
43 pages.
Would you do daytime Emmys too?
Yeah. I am really angry about the costumers for a live event comedy showcase variety show.
Right?
That shit.
I guess it would be a faux pas for the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences to be like, print major categories only. Like they couldn't, like they couldn't like visually diminish the costume designers.
This is what I get for clicking on the just print out the whole list. I'm like, oh yeah, great, and I printed it out instead of just the article that I read.
You should have printed it from like E! Online or something that has a good sense of what you asked.
Forwarding through this much of the show.
Exactly. We need to hustle. We're going to cover all the categories from Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series all the way to... Hold, please. Just too much paper. Outstanding Technical Direction, Camera Work, Video Control for a Miniseries, Movie, or Special.
Nice.
Which is
to be fair,
the money category.
A good 7/8 of that are like in 4 different shows too.
Yeah.
Like that's the main thing we were talking about about the Emmys this morning. As soon as they came out, we started scrolling through the 45-page list, and we're like, they give Emmys for that? They give Emmys for Facebook campaigns?
They do. Yeah.
They do, for interactive.
Well, no, it's supposed to be, there are these 2 categories that are sort of like, if you look at the blurb of what they're designed for, it's for like original web content. But instead of going out and finding original web content, except for that one time the Lizzie Bennett Diaries one, they just nominate like the Facebook campaign for the launch of True Blood.
See, this is the kind of bullshittery that makes no one want to watch award shows.
Well, it's also the kind of bullshittery that, like, I'm glad they're giving awards to web content because I have a vested interest.
We're not going to win any awards. Don't worry.
Because the launch of the tie-ins for the launch of True Blood are going to win, but...
That being said, you should nominate us for the Streamies.
Honestly, if there's anything that you can nominate us for, go ahead and nominate us for it.
The Streamies. You should actually nominate us for the Streamies.
That sounds like a name for Golden Shower.
Get a different name and have a web content, like not an Emmy for web content, but like, and the Webbies haven't quite taken off, I guess.
The Streamies haven't taken off either.
Mostly because
it's because you're called the Streamies.
I still want one.
I got the Streamies when I ate bad Mexican food.
Okay, so
now we'll never get a Streamies.
So what else?
You talked about poop. Now we're never gonna get a stream.
And they're downstairs; they can hear you.
They're really in the building?
Yeah.
And we still haven't won one?
No.
Well, let's go down and bring them some booze and stuff.
Dick Clark, give me a Streamy.
He's dead.
He's dead.
That sounds more like an accusation.
Yeah. That's pending litigation.
Or it's like a weird.
Show me on the doll.
Show me on the doll where Dick Clark gave you a streaming. Oh God, there. My God.
Circling back around to the major categories, though.
No. Is that what we're talking about? I was about to get us back on track too, but thank you, Christina.
She remembers when she was the host that one time.
Yeah.
I'm still on a power trip. But is anybody surprised by anything that was nominated in the major category? I mean,
I am very surprised that American Horror Story
Shut up.
got 17 nominations.
That show was great.
That's crazy.
And you know what's great about that show is it's the great thing that is about Orange is the New Black is that there are so many wonderful female characters on there, and they're not just talking about boys.
I will agree that part of it is good, and that there are that show had some great performances, and those nominations I'm cool with. Had 2 or 3 of those women were interesting characters, but to nominate it for overall writing and directing and
well, look, the camera work on that show is bonkers and annoying as garbage.
it's always the same thing as last year, right? plus whatever is new and hot this year, which is kind of a fallacy of the whole format.
But consider like what came out this year.
Oh.
Like you got the final season of Breaking Bad. You got what we all saw in Game of Thrones, which was the most incredible moment of TV in a long time.
I will say, out of all of the nominations that Game of Thrones got, the fact that they nominated children, the last episode,
Yeah.
I was a little surprised by that. I thought that was actually one of the more poorly written episodes of the season. The fact that Watchers on the Wall got nominated for directing, Neil Marshall got nominated for that, I thought was outstanding. I'm really glad he's doing it, because that was a great episode of TV. But the children, I feel like they could have found a better show to nominate.
Yeah, but the stuff with with Dinklage's character was so amazing.
And he's nominated.
That was such a big shift for his character.
And
Honestly,
some of the
only-
like intense monologue bits in there were really
Now that I think about it, really the thing that sticks out is like, come Brendan Stock, come to me. And I was like, I'm not taking anything seriously anymore.
But HBO also then got Veep, a ton of Veep nominations.
And I'm really glad Silicon Valley got
Silicon
nominated.
Valley.
Silicon Valley.
Oh,
Like,
I
that's
was so
hilarious.
happy about that.
That's Entremet. Like this is really where HBO is just
Specifically, I was
every
happy
show.
to see the what was it, optimal tip-to-tip efficiency
Yeah.
Silicon Valley episode got nominated for best writing,
right.
because that was one of the funniest things I've seen on TV in a long time. Like, I'm a huge comedy nerd. I really stay on top of this kind of stuff. So I was really happy about it. And Alec Berg wrote it. He's like a veteran comedy writer for TV. He wrote for Seinfeld. So I really hope that he gets it.
And I think we can make it official. That's the smartest dick joke of all time.
Oh my God. That's exactly what I said. I was sitting at home on my couch. I was like, this is an 8-minute long dick joke,
I was
and it's
just sitting there-
magnificent.
I was just sitting there in awe of this.
Yes.
It made the entire
was
series,
great.
and it saved it. Honestly, I thought the
devoted my
series
life to
was
dick
pretty
jokes.
flat, like had its moments, and then that last episode just.
It was one of the
killed it.
longest dick jokes I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Is there a category? There's bound to be a category for dick jokes.
Do
in
you
here.
really want to compare dick jokes length?
Why not measure dick jokes?
I don't know.
In any
Yeah, there's
event,
gotta be a
I
way.
think like it was really great to see that show as a newcomer get a lot of love. And you know, even though so much of the problem with these award shows is the same shows getting attention over and over, Modern Family, the Big Bang Theory, etc.
I put the Big Bang Theory up
it's
there
nice
before
to see
Modern
it when
Family.
when good shows are getting attention repeatedly, like Louis. Hopefully, Breaking Bad will get its send-off that I think it deserves. I thought it was interesting, though, that Fred Armisen is up for supporting actor on
In his own
Portlandia.
show.
Yeah, so
I was just like, that's peculiar.
So is Dinklage.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Yeah.
really no main character in Game of Thrones.
I could
There's no
excuse it
lead
more
actor in
on Game of Thrones. And with Armisen, I guess the idea is that he's playing so many characters that all of them render him supporting. But I'm like, but he's in every, like, it's his show with
Right.
Carrie Brownstein. So that didn't make much sense. to me.
Along those same lines, I was really glad to see that Kate McKinnon was nominated.
Yes.
I thought it was very cool to see
Love
a
her.
female cast member on Saturday Night Live get
Yeah.
nominated for supporting actress. And like, I love the nomination is for various characters.
Yeah.
Which I think is great.
Kate
'cause-
McKinnon's awesome. Since she started on the show, she's like, all right, here's our next Kristen Wiig, because she's just been killing it
And
since
just
day one.
and just getting that a little bit more sort of legit recognition for
Yeah.
sketch comedy. Is,
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
Saturday
Great.
Night Live ended up with 14 nominations.
because it's coming
a lot.
back. It's hitting its stride again. You know, those sort of cyclical kind of Saturday Night Live's good again type moments. Like we're getting back to that. I
Oh,
think.
the only two snubs that I felt like were like that I got a little bit upset about, if that's the word, because I'm not really upset, are Liev Schreiber and Michael Sheen, because I think like what Liev Schreiber's been doing on Ray Donovan and what Michael Sheen is doing on Masters of Sex are both amazing performances, and those Ray Donovan didn't get any recognition, but.
Didn't Voight get nominated?
I think I don't remember.
I think John Voight got
Golden
a,
Voight got nominated for
something else.
Something else.
supporting.
I think I just
Oh,
saw
really?
his name and assumed it was
Yeah,
Ray
for Ray
Donovan.
For Ray
Donovan.
Donovan.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm right.
So Voight got it, but well, it's the same. So Voight got it for Ray Donovan, but Schreiber didn't, and Lizzie Kaplan got it for Masters of Sex, but Michael Sheen didn't. And I don't think those shows would be as good as they are without Schreiber and Sheen. So it's weird. Those snubs are weird.
It's kind of interesting though that I feel like Netflix has just leapfrogged Showtime altogether.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we're better than we're tutors.
Well,
One other snub, Tatiana Maslany.
Maslany.
Yeah.
Orphan Black. So good.
Speaking of as various characters, she plays everything in that show. And
There's
she
scenes
does
where
it
she's
so
playing-
ridiculously well.
There's those scenes where she's playing like one person doing an impression of one of the other people whom she also plays. So she's like 3 characters deep every now and then, which is just bizarre.
Well, she's spectacular. You know, I'll watch that show and I will like genuinely forget that it's the same actress.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, wow, she's so good who plays Allison, but Sarah's really good too.
Whoever that girl is like Sarah is outstanding.
And it's true. I mean, that happens, and it's a great show, and God, she's amazing. And it's a bummer, that one. That's like the main geek snub right now, like that she keeps on getting snubbed because she is unbelievable. I'm really sad because I feel like Breaking Bad, it being the last season, it being one of the best TV shows ever made, I feel like it's going to like sweep everything, and I'm really bummed because I think True Detective, like any other year, would win everything, and I feel like it's going to get like just avalanched over.
Well, the other thing is Breaking Bad might not sweep as bad, even though it's over. It's won before, so unlike the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings situation where they're just like, we'll nominate you every year, but we're really just holding it to the end. Like Breaking Bad's won enough that they might not need the big sweep.
It's gotten its
that's
recognition.
the question.
Yeah.
Though. Like that is the question because the final season was so spectacular. People might still feel obligated to give them one more. So that's going to be the question.
Thing. Yeah, especially because I think Aaron Paul didn't win or wasn't nominated last year or something, and everyone made a big like.
Honestly,
Well,
I'm
he's
okay with
won
that.
at least once.
Right.
Yeah, he's won.
I want to say one more thing. There's some Sherlock love this year, which I like.
A little bit of Sherlock Club, yeah.
There's actually both Sherlock and Watson are nominated for different things for
Different
lead
things,
actor in miniseries. Benedict Cumberbatch, Sherlock, and Martin.
I will say Martin Freeman is better in Fargo than he ever thought about being in
Yes.
He's totally solid. He's totally solid in Sherlock, but in Fargo he is outstanding.
Yeah.
Doesn't detract from the movie at all. It's
You don't like it?
fantastic. Billy Bob Thornton is
Okay.
probably
Whoa. Wait.
I'm gonna keep going, and you can cut me off in the middle.
Master debaters.
Martin Freeman.
Because T hates the show.
He doesn't like the show.
You're wrong.
Go!
What's wrong with the show?
Woof. Well, first of all, I mean, all the characters, at least in the beginning and through much of the season, were just like types instead of actual characters, which I found extremely annoying and lazy. I liked it better toward the end, but I still never loved it, and mostly because there was like almost no one to root for by the end. Colin Hanks like quasi saves the day, which is like the most unsatisfying. Sorry, spoiler.
Colin Hanks quasi saves the day.
He's a wet blanket.
Is soon to be a band.
If Colin Hanks was going to save the day, that's exactly how he would save the day.
Yeah.
It would be the most underwhelming.
It was just extremely disappointing.
Okay, well that's about as much Emmy's discussion as this stack of paper deserves.
Those trees died for a good reason.
So moving on to some of the other cool stuff that happened this week. There's a bunch of Guillermo Del Toro news came out, and I know we got some Guillermo Del Toro fans in here. In the midst of Pacific Rim 2, and apparently at the Mountains of Madness, still has life. Possibly.
You know, I think Guillermo Del Toro is one of these really interesting artists because he can make these big sort of crazy geeky type movies, but he can also make, I think, great movies. Like I think Pan's Labyrinth is an amazing film, and he's really got like that sweet spot. Devil's Backbone, yeah, between being very entertaining. But also very, very good, and he's like an auteur.
He's a lot like Soderbergh in that aspect. He can take on the big budget Hollywood stuff, and then he can go straight into what he's going to do now. Apparently, the indie black and white
he's got some kind
personal drama.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that I think that his big blockbuster stuff produces mixed feelings in people. There's people who love Pacific Rim. There's people who absolutely hate Pacific Rim. There's people who love Hellboy, and there's people who absolutely hate Hellboy.
Yeah.
Whereas almost everyone I know, like, that has seen Pan's Labyrinth, like when he gets smaller budget and more intimate and sort of more creative control, when he gets out of the studio system and is just a filmmaker telling an intimate story, he's brilliant. Yeah. He's absolutely brilliant. And so the idea that he's going to make this tiny black and white movie, possibly, hopefully starring John Hurt, that, like, we know nothing about and will not know anything about until it comes out.
It's exactly like Pain and Gain, right?
Exactly like Pain and Gain.
This is his Pain and Gain.
This is Guillermo Del Toro's.
I am infinitely more interested in Guillermo Del Toro doing his Pain and Gain than I am any number of Pacific Rims 2. I could give a about Pacific Rims.
Dude, Pacific Rim is awesome. You still like anime, bro.
No. It was Pacific Rim. I didn't hate the movie though. Like I just don't give a shit.
Do you have a brother?
No.
There you go.
Well, no. Here's the thing.
I don't have a brother. I still love it.
Have you ever been in love with an Asian woman who can't love you back?
No. Oh, that's it. That's why I didn't get it. Yeah, that's what it is.
I like Pacific Rim a lot. It was really cool. I was like literally fist pumping the whole time. But I'm much more interested in Guillermo Del Toro
as an
like
artist.
when he's announcing a little black and white film that he's going to do something that is really kind of off the wall but really cool in there.
Yeah, because Pacific Rim was popcorn and it was explosions and it was okay, whatever. I'll go see it on a giant screen and I'll never watch it again.
It was a less aggravating Transformers.
I can get that, practically anywhere.
Right. Every weekend there's
Every weekend there's another one of those.
But there's never one quite that big.
Like if there isn't Pacific
Big
Rim
budget
2,
sure action.
I
It's all
won't
over the
care.
place.
It's so unique.
If Guillermo Del Toro's
really
black and white
wasn't.
movie, now that I know it
Dude,
exists,
it's not like Transformers.
Okay, hang on. See, this is why we can't have this
We're
many
a
people
side
here next
argument.
week. We're having two arguments at the same time.
I was saying that like if Pacific Rim 2 never happens, like who cares?
That's fine.
Yeah.
I liked Pacific Rim, but I don't care. Whereas like now that I know his weird little black and white movie exists in his head, if it like falls apart and like doesn't happen, I might just cry a little.
I want to see his Mountains of Madness too. Okay, so I think we seem to all more or less agree. Pacific Rim 2, when you get to it, but black and white indie film, like do it right now.
More importantly
I
than
love both.
Pacific Rim 2, though, they're still going to do the TV show Pacific Rim 2, which I'm totally on. The animated, which is like it's what it should have been in the first place.
Right.
Like my big complaint with the movie is they just didn't spend enough time with the characters, right? And a TV show is it's perfect.
Or the character.
Well,
There was two characters in that whole movie, and they were in it for 2 seconds. So,
But then when they do spend more time with the characters, you get Godzilla, where your character does nothing.
Yeah, but
That's
I blame Aaron Taylor Johnson for that.
They weren't, those characters didn't exactly come from places of complexity.
they spent a whole ton of time in Godzilla with the main character.
He didn't do it.
Yeah, he did. He smashed Mothra or Muto through a building. He like stomped across San Francisco.
Yeah,
Oh, you're saying Godzilla was the main character. I see what
Godzilla's definitely the main character.
He was there defending humanity.
Yeah.
And that's what his evolutionary drive is for the last.
Hero Godzilla.
that's what happens in the Godzilla
Yeah.
sequel.
It
There's
makes
a whole-
sense. You're thinking of it in like a small, like,
No.
first Gojira.
I'm thinking of
Godzilla
it.
is a national hero of Japan, bro.
Oh, he has evolved to bring balance to the world.
Super great Japanese
He's a
accent.
god now.
He's in the movie. There are lines of dialogue where they go out of their way to be like, the reason Godzilla is hunting these monsters that we just made up a name for is because he's f***ing starving.
He's bringing.
And then he doesn't eat them.
But he's bringing
'Cause he's
nature
a
back into
predator.
balance. There's also a line about that too.
Yeah.
Right. But it's a balance to like.
I don't even know why we're talking about Godzilla. The movie came out months ago. Yeah, and you guys are just chomping at the bit to talk about all your anime stuff today, and you're just going on and on about Godzilla. So go ahead, talk about Death Note.
All right, so
See if I care.
Mark and I, we both love Death Note. It's one of the best animes.
I do too.
I would not have guessed that.
I like
Who would have thought, right?
Would not
But
have
I love
guessed
it.
So Death Note is a great anime, and for the longest time, Shane Black was going to direct the version, but now he's off doing Predator. I think Death Note is one of those, for people I know who don't watch anime.
So
aren't
I don't.
interested.
Yeah, some half of us don't know what the
I
hell
think
it is.
I think people aren't interested. This is actually the one I tell them to watch because it's the most like I think it's the one that's easier to get. Basically, the idea is there's these death gods right up in another realm, and they have these things called death notes. They drop down to essentially mess with humanity. And this kid who's basically a straight A student finds this death note, and he realizes, from reading it and stuff, that he can write anyone's name in the death note, and that person will die. And so it starts off with him sort of like, this is wrong, and then he starts thinking to himself, well, maybe I can be like an avenger for good, and this guy is a serial killer, and that's bad. And of course, ultimately, he becomes like a megalomaniac tyrant.
And then this character L shows up, and he's this brilliant hacker who has decided that
He's Sherlock Holmes, basically.
he's basically
the
Sherlock
greatest
Holmes.
detective in the
He
world.
shows up, and he's decided he's going to find out why people are dying, and there is no evidence whatsoever, and he figures it out.
Have we even gotten to the point where
Okay,
we're talking
so-
about Gus Van Sant?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I have to leave in 5 minutes.
So, all of that stuff you just said,
Yes.
I followed some of it. Gus Van Sant is going to be doing the film version of it.
That's the rumor right now.
Is that going to work?
I think so. I mean, the main thing for me is I definitely just want the live action version because I feel like when they make this movie, it can actually make anime movies actually happen. Because though we love Speed Racer, it did not
The
work
other
out.
thing is, like, whenever I think about an anime becoming a live action Hollywood movie, my mind goes right to Dragon Ball Evolution.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's just like,
With like the plastic.
Or Street
anime
Fighter
hair.
with Lana Lang. Remember that?
Yes,
that was
definitely.
actually a lot of fun because Chris Klein was just.
He
was so bad it was awesome.
Insane in that movie.
But here's the thing, though. All of that stuff that you said describing that story could not sound less like Gus Van Sant.
Yeah, and I think that's why it might work though. In a way, I think you're gonna have to go into the movie like not thinking about Death
so
Note
crazy.
the series.
what?
Yeah, like it's gonna be grounded super
But
hard.
yeah, it's gonna be grounded and like feel very real, which is great. And Gus Van Sant, actually, most of his characters have a very similar dynamic as Riot and the main character.
or Light and L even, because they have this relationship too, along with them.
They actually end up knowing each other and one becomes a protege of the other. It's this whole.
But then you want. But then the
Robin
question
Williams and
becomes.
Matt Damon.
Right.
Well, it's
Then the question for me
Anime.
is like if it's like this like very grounded realistic adaptation where other than there being a kid with the superpower to write someone's name down and kill them, it's all fairly realistic.
Yeah,
Like
pretty much.
then is it really Death Note?
Yeah.
Like, is it just something else?
Why don't you
where,
just-
like,
Is it just Murder Blogger?
And I'm sure it's just like making him just go, Gus Van Sant be like, oh my
I
god,
got
this is
her.
brilliant. This is real. Like, what can I do with this?
story. And it's hard for me. This is how I describe Death Note to people who don't know anything about it. It's like Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty, but the inverse of that. You're following Moriarty through this entire world. It's about the smartest villain on the planet messing everything up, and Sherlock Holmes trying to catch him.
Okay.
And you're the point of view of the villain.
I'm into that.
And it's super brilliant, and like you're saying, the cat and mouse stuff. Not
Uh,
only that,
so-
why do we all focus on like can Gus Van Sant do it? He's made great films.
Yeah.
He made Good Will Hunting.
but-
He made We're not talking like Brett Ratner's gonna do like Death Note. We're not talking
Where is
Nick
Mully?
Cage is doing Death Note.
It's not like he's getting the incredible acting cast of Elephant, right?
Yes, Gus Van Sant has made a lot of really great movies, and he's a great filmmaker in plenty of ways. But that doesn't mean that, just because he made a good movie, like Good Will Hunting was good, doesn't mean he can just make any kind of great.
He also
movie.
did the
that's-
Psycho remake.
It's true, but
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
because filmmakers who do a lot of different genres, it's very rare that they do great movies in all the different genres. Because Death Note is a cool title, because it is better than Murder Blogger, which I think that's the third band that we've come up with today. There's Murder Blog, there's Colin Hanks Quasi Saves the Day, and what was the other one? There was something.
Barrel of Assholes.
Barrel of Assholes is another one. So we got a lot of bands that we got to go start forming, which is a good place to stop it, I believe. So thank you for giving us a full house once again today. Well, we won't have nearly this many people next week. This was just a mess. It was just a big...
I'm never coming back.
There we go. So let us know what you think of all of this stuff, band names and otherwise, down in the comments below. And come back next time for more movie news on CineFix Now. And then 8 of us.
I'm gonna take my script from Murder Blogger to the producers of Wolf Cop.
Do it! Do it! I would love Murder Blogger from the
Or
creators of Wolf Cop.
Transmorphers. What about Transmorphers?
should have plugged the show and he's gonna be an accident.
No, it's an actual movie, man.